Welcome to a very special episode of TUI Transfer Talk. In case some of you have been living under a rock for the past week, Ronald Koeman's move to Everton, in the words of Anchorman, has escalated quickly over the weekend. We're joined today by some Everton fans, joined by Baz from Everton Fans Channel, Toffee TV. First of all, Baz, welcome, mate.
Cheers, mate. Thanks for having me.
So let's get straight into it then. So what's your reaction to all of this? Ronald Koeman to Everton, reports suggest it's pretty much a done deal. We're now officially just waiting on the football clubs to announce it.
Yeah, obviously pleased that we've got a manager. We needed a manager. We've, I've been talking all week, and we've needed one for probably 2 seasons. Roberto Martin has had an excellent first season, but things have escalated very quickly there, as you so eloquently put it at the start of the show. We went after Ronald Koeman, and it's come to fruition, as these things sometimes do, don't they? It looked unlikely probably a few weeks ago, but Everton have managed. It looks like Everton have managed to get it over the line.
I mean, if you look through the archives, that's when I say archives, I make it sound like it's years ago. But 3 weeks ago, Koeman wasn't your first choice, was he?
No, he's not my first choice, to be honest with you. Without being, I'm not trying to be disrespectful in any way, because I think he's an excellent coach, and I'm really pleased that Everton have got him. Everton were courting Jose Mourinho, or Jose Mourinho was courting Everton, however unlikely that was. We know that it was probably used as leverage for the Manchester United thing, but up until I think it was about 10 days before the season ended, George Mendes was still having talks with Farhad Moshiri, Everton's new owner. So there was some dialogue there, but I think Moshiri's number one choice was always Ronald Koeman. Me personally, I wanted Unai Emery from Seville. Frank de Boer was another one I thought Everton could get. I thought he'd fit well and was without a club. So it would have been quite an easy transition. And then Ronald Koeman, but he's in there. I'm not by any way, shape or form disappointed, because I think he's a fantastic, he's done really, really well at Southampton. So that fills me with a lot of confidence. He knows the Premier League. But, it was one of them. I just thought maybe it'd be difficult to get him out of Southampton. And the other two, for me, seemed a more logical step.
Yeah, we thought that Ronald was an honourable man, a trustworthy man. We thought he'd...
You do know football, right?
Yes.
You do know football. There's nobody honourable in football.
Money talks in football. So this moves us on to your new owner, really. They said it's going to be a £6 million compensation package. So who is Farhad Moshiri? Have I pronounced that right? What will he be doing different to Everton next season?
Well, I think, you see, there's been a lot of back and forth on Twitter, isn't it? If you follow Twitter and you see some of the stuff that's escalated between the two clubs, it's a little bit, it's a bit bizarre when you're reading some of the stuff. But I think a lot of people would struggle with the Koeman thing to Everton, given how excellent Southampton have been for the last 2 seasons. But a lot of people are, if this would have been 12 months ago and Bill Kenwright was still the major shareholder in Everton and he was trying to get Ronald Koeman out of Southampton, I would have been probably saying what a lot of Saints fans have been saying is, why would you go there? The Everton for me have massively underachieved in the last 2 seasons, given the players they've got. Particularly this season, we've had a centre forward that scored 25 goals, and we finished in the bottom half of the table. But we finished in the bottom half of the table because we had a totally inept manager in charge of us. We had a manager that was obsessed with possession football, but the players were so unfit. And so I believe if Everton would have replaced Roberto Martinez at Christmas, they'd have finished much higher up the league. I think if you go through Everton's squad, there's still a lot of excellent players there. But what Farhad Moshiri, will bring is he's come in. He's obviously very wealthy, and he will just change the face of Everton, so to speak, in terms of us. We've been financially restricted for years, basically, under Bill Kenwright. The club have spent every penny they could. That wasn't always a lot. And therefore, Everton were always having to kind of just do better than what probably the wage bill would have suggested. Moshiri will change the dynamic there in terms of the money. And obviously, this has been seen. I mentioned before, We could have had Unai Emery for probably a couple of £1 million. We could have had Frank de Boer for nothing. We spoke to Manuel Pellegrini a couple of times. He's nothing. But he's gone after Ronald Koeman, who him and his, the reports that I'm hearing, the figures probably going to be around 5 million as a compensation package. And I think the 6 million a year is probably just slightly over exaggerated, but it's going to be kind of within that region. So to spend that kind of money on a manager is almost unheard of for us, because for so many years we've had to cut our cloth accordingly, I suppose. So that for me tells you exactly where Everton are going to go under Moshiri, or where he wants them to go. The ground stuff, the ground move is now moving forward. There's a couple of sites being identified there. We're led to believe there's a pot of at least £100 million for Everton to spend, and that's without, if Lukaku looks like he's probably going to go, for probably 60 million or whatever the fee is going to be. So that'll be on top of it. So there's going to be a lot of money there for Ronald Koeman, obviously, to spend. And like I said to you before, there is no loyalty in football, unless you talk Matt Letizia, who was very loyal.
The leg god, they call him down here. So, it sounds like, obviously, Moshiri wants to make a big statement with Everton, with his money, starting with Koeman. Do you think there'll be a lot of pressure on Koeman to deliver the goods on the pitch? Do you think it could backfire next season?
I don't think backfire is probably the right phrase. I think, like I said to you before, I think Everton have still got a lot of very, very good players. I mean, you're talking Seamus Coleman, for me, is in one of the top 3 right backs in the country on his day. Leighton Baines is still excellent. John Stones, if he stays, most teams would like him. We need a new goalkeeper, there's no question about that. We've got Gerard Deulofeu, who's an exceptional, on his day, exciting winger rather than not exceptional. We've got Ross Barkley, who, if he gets a little bit of form together, is as good as anything around on his day as well, for me. Everton will be fitter under Koeman. If you'd have watched any of our videos, me and Ped, the last 3 months, we just couldn't believe how unfit we were. We were shocking, and I think for me, Ronald Koeman is capable of putting Everton higher up the league, no question about it. The thing I'm really pleased about is he plays 2 strikers, which, I've been banging my head watching Everton for so many years with 1 forward. It just irritates me. Leicester City, who were the champions, played with 2 strikers. Southampton, who were fantastic last season, played with 2 strikers. Manchester City, when they were at the best, had Aguero and Dzeko and Jovetic. So all of the sides that I've liked to watch have played with 2 strikers. Even, dare I say it, the other lot who play in our city, when they nearly won the league the other year, they had Suarez and Sturridge up front. So for me, the most exciting football is 2 forwards, and Ronald Koeman does that. So in terms of will he fail at Everton next season? Listen, I'm not going to sit here and say yeah, because I think he can get us right back in the mix. There's no question about it. The money will dictate that. If he gets Everton organised and fit, the players will dictate where they finish. But what I think it will do is it'll make people sit up and take notice, because the big thing in this is that he was the one Farhad Moshiri wanted, and it looks, well, let's be honest, he's got him, hasn't he? He's got the man he wanted, when there was a lot of other candidates who wanted the Everton job. So for me, that's a big, big statement.
Just to finish things off, we've got a couple of questions from our viewers. Ella Rose asks, how long do you think Koeman will stay for? More importantly for me, do you think he will honour his contract if someone bigger, like Barcelona, came calling?
I think he would probably go. Why wouldn't he? If Barcelona come in, why wouldn't he want to crack at that? You know what I mean? I'm not. Listen, I've been watching football for a long time, and I've got, I know people within the game are just friends and stuff like that. And he said, someone very close to me who's involved in football said to me after Ronald Koeman's press conference the Friday before the last game, when he denied he wanted to come to Everton, he wants to speak to Everton, and that's gone on for weeks. Ronald Koeman's always wanted to talk to Everton, despite what he was saying. So I think if Arsenal even came knocking, or Barcelona, I think he would probably want to go, depending on how it goes at Everton. But I think if Barcelona come, listen, he's not going to turn Barcelona down. I'm not naive enough to think that.
Marlon asks, do you believe Koeman has genuinely made the right decision, or is it just based on money?
Listen, I think he may look at where else he can go. He may think that he's probably done as much as he can at Southampton. I don't know. He could obviously do even better, but I think maybe looking at Everton's stats, and don't forget he was a player when Everton was successful. So players will link that back. They will look and go, well, yeah, I remember when Everton won leagues because I was playing the game myself, and I remember when the crowds and he played against Everton for PSV.
Yeah,
that famous picture with the shirt and stuff. So I think he probably would. I'm going to say, yeah, he's made the right decision. Of course I am. I'm not going to say, no, we should have stayed at Southampton, because I believe at this moment in time, Everton are probably more determined to maybe push the boat out more than what Southampton will at this moment in time. That's probably the only way I can answer it.
Yeah.
Only time to tell, of course, won't it?
Of course,
Southampton could win the league. Leicester have just won it. Southampton could win it, you never know.
Who knows? And just one final one, mate. I think I know the answer to this one, but do you think Everton will finish above Southampton next year?
Yes. What do you expect me to say? To be honest with you, I think this season coming, there's a lot of teams. I don't think it's a given that Chelsea will get back in the top four. I don't think it's a given Liverpool, Manchester United. I really don't. Listen, probably the only manager who can guarantee you to win trophies is probably Mourinho. But Guardiola's in there now. We've got Conte in at Chelsea. Will Arsenal finish top four because they always do. Pochettino's in it. The Koeman's in now at Everton. You've got Bilic at West Ham. De Boer or Emery could be in at Southampton. I think you're going to see a Premier League this season, and that's. I believe Leicester won't struggle, but it's going to be very difficult, isn't it, for Leicester to repeat, especially if Vardy goes and a couple of them leave. But I think you're going to see probably a top 9, 10 teams fighting for those 4 places. And I include Southampton in that, but I very much include Everton in it. And obviously summer business will dictate that as well. If Everton go out and spend some serious money on some quality players, then of course they'll be elevated up. Southampton may do the same, as will probably West Ham and teams like that. So I think you're going to see a lot of big managers at clubs now. So you're going to see probably 9 or 10 teams fighting for those 4 places. And who knows? I mean, you come very close this year to the top 4. Who knows what you can do and what Everton and West Ham and Liverpool and everyone else can do. So interesting season ahead.
Well, that's it from us. If you want to check out more Everton content, head over to Toffee TV. All the links are in the description. Let us know what you think of the Koeman saga in the comments below, and subscribe for more.